Hi everybody, welcome to Glow with Grace. I wanted to do an 18-month update today for my daughter Leah. She actually turned 18 months a couple of weeks ago, almost now as I'm filming this, so I thought I better get this done before she turns 19 months. I hope to do little updates like this for her every 3 months. And I did one when she was 15 months, so hoping to get this out now. Yeah, she is just such a loving, lovely, sweet little girl. She just has such a sweet personality. I just love her so much. I'm so happy to have her in my life. And yeah, I just wanted to share kind of some of the main things that she's interested in at this point and things that she's saying and stuff. So she absolutely loves babies. I probably mentioned this in the last video, but she has a few different baby dolls. And I think I mentioned in the last video there was a baby horse who was really nearby our house, and she was obsessed with the baby horse, always talking about the baby horse, like first thing when she woke up, and calling him on these little plastic phones that she has. She still does that all the time. Hello baby, baby, hello baby. Yeah, that was really sweet. And the baby dolls that she has, that's always like the first thing every morning when we come out of the bedroom. She likes to set up a blanket on the floor and get all of the babies out and lay them out all on the blanket. And get a pile of books. She absolutely loves books, and it's so sweet. I mean, she would just sit and look through books all day, literally, like if she could. And I remember, actually I watched some of the old videos of Araya from these months, like 16, 17, 18 months that I did years ago. And it was the same with Araya. Like I don't know, it's interesting. I guess something clicks in at this stage. If there's books around, they get into looking at books. And she loves books, and she will go and get like stacks of them and bring them to the blanket where she has the babies laid out. And that's like the whole kind of routine every morning is the babies are all laid out and there's a bunch of books, and we go through the books, and sometimes she'll even like bring the little play picnic basket, and there'll be like things for the babies to eat from the picnic basket and stuff like that. Mostly until now she's been into the board books, which are obviously great so that babies don't rip pages. But she has, in the last couple of weeks or so, started to get into some of the other books as well. Usually they're hardbacked ones that she goes for, probably because it's more familiar or something. But yeah, she is starting to get into all the paper ones as well now. And yeah, she just loves it, going through all the pages, making all the animal noises, like getting used to recognizing different things in different books and stuff. Is that what that guy says? Wow. Mama. Yeah. Oh, look at all the little mice. Mama. Yeah. Oh, yeah, the monkeys. Is that what the elephants say? This is one of her favorites. It's actually one of our favorites in general. It's brilliant. My sister sent it to me. It's called At the Same Moment Around the World. And as the name suggests, it is at the same moment around the world, exactly like what might be happening in different places. So it says like, it's 5 o'clock in the morning here, and this guy's doing this. At the same moment in blah, 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 it's 6 o'clock and this person's doing this. Like exploring the concept of time zones. Pretty cool, you can check it out. And there's a map of the world in the back, and there's a baby. She loves to always find the baby, pull the map out and find the baby. So that's one of her favorites. And oh yeah, it's so sweet with this one. You can see this is obviously well loved. Araya like ripped this to pieces. Most of these are from when Araya was small. And this one is called I Love You Sun, I Love You Moon. And it's super sweet. Every page is just like, I love you something. So I love you sun, I love you sheep. And the sweetest thing happened maybe a few weeks ago with Leah. I always read this with the same intonation. It's like, I love you sun, I love you, sheep. Like a very kind of gentle kind of lullaby kind of sound to it. And she started to say like her own version of it. You know, she'll open the book and be like, ah, la la la, la 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 la. Like she knows the intonation. And she was saying it kind of like, I love it, I la la, or something for the I love you bit, and she started adding mama on the end of it. It was so sweet. So it's like she was saying, I love you, mama, except in her own way, like, I la la, mama. So sweet. But I don't know if she really knows what it means or anything, you know, but it was just so sweet to hear, I la la, mama. So sweet. And yeah, so books is a big thing right now. She also loves to color things. We had some little paint pots around for a while, and she would just go nutso on those. She would pull them out every single time she went onto the porch. She would pull the paints out, and like hands everywhere and painting all over the floor and all over herself. We just got a pack of washable markers, and yeah, those are just like everywhere right now as well, all over her, all over the floor. And Araya also has been getting into nail varnish. What do you call it in the US? Nail polish, I guess. Yeah, and so that we have a bunch of like children's nail varnishes, and they're really cool actually. You paint them on and it just peels off or washes off with water, and Leah like wants to do that, of course, because she sees her sister doing it, so she gets all excited. She like tries to paint her own nails and stuff. Yeah, so painting, coloring stuff is definitely a big thing, which, you know, it's the same with Araya. I guess, you know, they just love to be creative and color things in. I really appreciate the gentleness of her personality. She's so just kind of even keeled all the time, pretty much. You know, I mean, of course she has her moments, but for the majority of the time, she's just so well-humored and so just like happy and easy to be around. I think it's so fascinating to me how, you know, parents so often say that from their second child onwards that it's easier. And I think that just must have so much to do with us as the parents rather than the children, right? Like if that's such a pattern, it's got to be like that we're so much more like relaxed and aware and know what to do and all that kind of stuff, which is pretty funny to think of. Yeah, she's just so kind of easygoing, and even like going to bed at night, she's just kind of like fine with everything, you know? It's kind of like, oh yeah, that's what we're doing now, okay. And just goes and lays down, and you know, there's no like big fussing anything unless she's like super crazy tired or something, but like for the majority of the time it's just like, oh yeah, this is what we're doing, we go to bed. Which, you know, I don't remember things being like that with Araya. And she sleeps really great for the most part. She definitely still wakes up a lot. I would say at the moment maybe like 3-4 times a night maybe she wakes up. But you know, we're so used to it. Neither of us really even wake up, so it's fine. She doesn't sleep in the day anymore. Extremely rarely, maybe like, you know, once a month or something. She might randomly sleep in the day, but she just sleeps at night. She sleeps between like 12-13 hours usually at night, from roughly like 6 p.m. to about 6 a.m. which is fine, you know, it's great. It's actually kind of ended up that there's a kind of a staggering of our days. Like she wakes up with me first, somewhere around 6, and then Araya doesn't usually wake up until a couple of hours later. So it's kind of like we have some time together, and Araya wakes up, and then Leah goes to bed before Araya. So it's like at the end of the day, I have some time alone with Araya. So it's kind of interesting how it's played out. She's still nursing, of course, and I'd say it's probably still the majority of what she intakes is breast milk. She eats a bunch of different stuff as well, but she's also been a little bit ill lately. Both of them they picked up something from somewhere, and Araya had like vomiting and diarrhea. Leah had diarrhea. And even with that, you know, it's like her personality is still just the majority of the time just happy, you know, and just fine with everything and easygoing, even though she hasn't been that well. It's so sweet, you know, she just has such a sweet personality. She loves to clean. I don't know if I mentioned that in the last video. I really appreciate that too. She's, yeah, really into like cleaning and organizing things. Today, for example, Raya had thrown all this stuff, all these toys out of a bucket onto the floor. And Leah was kind of like, ooh, like something to organize kind of thing. And she went over and it was just, I mean, I wish I knew what was going on in her head, you know, like her criteria for where she had like 3 different piles of stuff going on. It's like, I don't know what the criteria was, but it was just so fun watching how, like, some things would go back in the bucket, some things went over here, some over there. And it's, you know, I don't know what that was all about, but it was really sweet to see. And she loves to like stack things onto, like, organizing, you know, like getting things in some kind of pattern that she feels good about or something. I may have mentioned this last time as well. Sorry, I didn't rewatch the video, so I don't know if I'm repeating myself like crazy, but she does this thing where she goes, "Ah!" to scare people. It's so funny, and she's convinced, I'm sure, that she's like so scary when she does it, and everyone's got to go like, "Ah!" when she does it. "Ah!" She'll come like running across the room. "Ah!" There's a bunch of new things that she's been saying. I would say the main things that she says the majority of the time are mama, baby, and ver, which is like look in Spanish. And it's really interesting that she's choosing to say that in Spanish. The same kind of stuff would happen with Araya as well when she was smaller, that she would understand things in both languages, but she would choose to say them in Spanish. I feel like Spanish is more like melodic. It's like easier to pronounce a lot of the words. And so she says ver, 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 for almost everything all the time. Like look, 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 look. She's always trying to show you everything. Whereas to say look, 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 if it seems like it's harder to pronounce for children. So yeah, that's something that she always says in Spanish. And she also says agua rather than water. She also says, well, she does this for if there's nothing, which is like a local thing. Like they make this kind of hand movement for nothing. I don't think I had done this in the last video. I've been teaching her with baby sign language to do more, and she uses that all the time. It's so sweet. She does it with just these fingers, and she does it like so precisely. She's like, and I realized like she really uses that a lot, and it was like the only sign I taught her, because I did it a bit with Araya, but not that much. If you've never heard about baby sign language, you can look it up. It's a brilliant way of helping small babies, especially those who are pre-verbal, to communicate before they can necessarily talk much. And there's brilliant stories, you know, of people who've done this with their children. Their children are able to tell them at really young ages like what they're thinking about or what they want, and avoid meltdowns and stuff. I did it a little bit with Raya. We didn't really get that far, but this was one that I remembered. She's been so responsive with it. I thought, why don't I look up some videos and, you know, learn some more things to show her. So I've been doing that the last couple of days, and starting to learn all kinds of other things like mama, dada, fish, cat, dog. Yeah, different things that, you know, I would probably find useful with her. So I'm just kind of looking for opportunities to use those and see. I mean, some of them are kind of futile right now anyway, because she has ways of saying like a lot of those, you know, I think she's bow wow for dog and all those kind of things. So, and she says mama and dada and things, obviously. So yeah, I don't know. She also says nimnie when she wants to nurse. That's somehow what she settled on for that. She says hello when she's on the little phone. She does this for sleeping. She says ta-da sometimes if she's like trying to show you something. Ta-da! Yeah, that might be about it for the words that she's saying. I'm sure there's probably more that I'm not remembering right now, but definitely nowhere near the amount that Araya was talking at this age, which I think I did mention in the last video, and which often also seems to be the case with second and subsequent children, that they just take a lot longer with their speech than the first one, because the first one's just trying to be like an adult, because that's all they see. All right, I think that's about it for now. Hopefully I've managed to sprinkle some photos through here for your viewing pleasure. And yeah, we're about to go on a little trip to the beach for a few days, which I'm excited about. Leah, I don't think, has ever seen the ocean, or maybe very briefly when she was teeny tiny in the US. Yeah, so I think it's going to be a fun getaway. She likes to play in the sand, go and meet the ocean, and yeah, I guess maybe see you in 3 months from now, if not before. Thanks for watching. Ciao.